Hello, let's talk about reconciling your accounts in QuickBooks Online. So we're here in the Bank Center and you want to be reconciling any accounts that are connected in your bank feed. So that could be checking, savings, credit cards, maybe PayPal. Any of these accounts need to be reconciled monthly. So you want to make sure you have a monthly process for pulling your statements from these accounts and then reconciling within QuickBooks. If you haven't been reconciling, you'll want to go back and reconcile. You'll go all the way back to either when the account was connected in QuickBooks or when you opened that account, and you'll reconcile month by month until you get caught up. But once you're caught up, it's a really easy process that you'll just want to make sure you do once a month when your statement releases. So before you get started in the reconciliation screen, we want to make sure that all of your transactions are added for the period that you're going to be reconciling. So if we're going to reconcile November for the checking account, we want to make sure that all the November transactions and any earlier transactions are added here. So we're not seeing them as outstanding in the bank feed. So if they're not added, you won't be able to reconcile because you won't see those transactions in the reconciliation. So again, just make sure all your transactions are added before you go into reconcile. And then there's 3 ways to navigate to the reconciliation screen. You can go over to Bank Register and then click on Reconcile, or you can go to Accounting here on the left sidebar and down to Reconcile. Or my favorite way, you can go to the gear icon and down to Reconcile, and that will take you there as well. So however you get there, just get there. And then you'll want to pull up the statement for the month you're going to reconcile. So remember, again, you're either going to go back to that first month if you haven't been reconciling, or you're going to start with the most recent month if you have been reconciling. And the first thing you want to do is choose the account in this drop down. So we already said we're going to reconcile the checking account first. And you can see when this was last reconciled. So we can see this is reconciled up through the end of October. So we're going to reconcile for November. So what I would do is pull up my November bank statement for this checking account and have it handy. And then I'll start by comparing the beginning balance to the beginning balance on the statement. So beginning balance, opening balance, find that on your statement and compare it to this balance here. Then I'm going to enter the ending balance from my statement. So let's just say my statement says that the ending balance is $2,000. And then we'll enter the ending date of that statement, which we said was November 30th, and then click Start Reconciling. So basically, QuickBooks will pull in all transactions from that period that have been added into the books. So sometimes we'll see other transactions, and we'll talk about those in troubleshooting, but typically we will want to see all transactions that are pulled in for November that were entered into QuickBooks Online. So then we're just going to go through the process of comparing what we see here to the statement that we pulled up from our bank. So that's all the reconciliation process is. You're just comparing what happened in your bank to what happened in QuickBooks. So we want to start by looking at the statement. And I'll always start by checking all of the little checks first and then undo them. So we're starting with a clean slate. Nothing is checked. So now as I see an item on the statement, I will check it off here. So if I see $55 on this date for my statement, I would check it off. So you're just going through and checking anything, and these are for October, so we won't check those. But let's say, we're in November and we're seeing these items on the statement. It has to be on the statement, then you check it off. So once you go through and check every single item that you see on the statement, you ideally will have a difference of 0. If you don't have a difference of 0, that's when you have to troubleshoot and figure out why that is. And we can look at things like manual transactions. Those are the items without the green square. We can look at when the item has cleared. So there's a lot of things we can do to troubleshoot, but you just want to make sure that you're checking everything on the statement. And then hopefully you get a difference of 0. If you do, you can simply just go up to this drop down and select Finish Now, and that will close out the reconciliation. If you don't have a 0 difference, then you'll have to investigate what is causing that difference. And we will talk about that in a future module. But just make sure that you're doing this process monthly. One way to look at this reconciliation screen is to break it out by deposits and payments. I often like to do that depending on how the statement's set up. But you can look at all your deposits and check those all off first, and then you can look at payments or expenses separately, check all of those off as you see them on the statement, and then look at it in total. And you just, again, want to make sure that you see the item on the statement before you check it off here. And we will talk through troubleshooting issues in a future module.